Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am working on week 26 in my Project Life album, and I am, ironically enough, using the Overthinking It kit from Nelly and Clem. Now I've gone ahead and printed out a few of the journaling cards and a few of the papers, and you can see me very much overthinking the placement of these here. I was just kind of trying to balance out the colors. There are a couple of papers in the kit, and I printed both of those. I cropped them in Photoshop to 4x6s and printed both of those out. I'm absolutely in love with this like lavender stripe. So pretty. And I'm less in love with the kind of little flowery one at the top. It just is a little bit overwhelming for my page. I am trying to keep things super simple, so I have not printed out all of the cards and I haven't printed out all of the embellishments, just a few that I thought that I might use. And as far as all the little PNG files here that I'm going to start placing around my page, I'll be perfectly honest, I was fussy cutting them rather than cutting them on my Cricut or Cameo, so I printed out the really easy to cut out ones. So there's lots of kind of little tiny word strips, and I love these, I don't know what they're called, like word cards. I printed out a few of those. I've got some little file tab things and some circles, so just some really basic shapes so that I could either cut them out on my paper trimmer or really quickly cut them out with scissors. So all this whole layout, even the copious rearranging and overthinking the coloring here, still only took me about 20 minutes to put together. So not a long time at all. I have like slightly sped it up for you guys, but honestly, it was a very quick week to put together, which I was very happy with. So I have had another little rearrange, basically because I felt like the colors in the kit really worked with the photos that I had this week. But that yellow, it's kind of a little bit mustardy. It's a whole lot brighter visually than the rest of my page. And so I wanted to try to make sure that those few spots of that mustard yellow were kind of distributed around the page rather than all down one side of it. So that hence the extra rearranging, especially of those 3x4 cards in the middle. Now, my whole purpose of adding these little word cards was that I was going to add some alphas to them and kind of expand their meaning. I'm going to use my favorite little foam alphas from Citrus Twist. And I'm just going to add like one word to each of these cards. I am using my ruler guide though, because I'm trying to keep things as kind of neat as possible. Because these are so simple, these layouts that I'm doing, I kind of want to keep things as tidy as I can. I mean, as tidy as I can anyway. They're definitely not perfect, but I'm trying my hardest. So I added still to trying, and this one here says today was, and I'm going to add the word good underneath it, because any day that starts with pancakes can't be that bad, can it? Now the word good kind of tricked me up a little bit just because of all of those big fat letters. So I've got a G, a 2 O's, and a D's not quite as fat, but it was a little bit harder to kind of get it to space nicely. So I have ended up kind of squishing the letters a little bit just so that it balanced out with the today was and didn't become like super overwhelming for it. Now I've kind of gone as far as I'm going to go with the rest of it. I wanted to work on my title card, and I was going to kind of force myself to use that floral paper because you know I hate reprinting things, but in the end I decided I couldn't do it. I went ahead and reprinted that lavender stripe paper. This time I printed it as a whole sheet of paper because I know I will use it again. So even though I'm only going to use a very small amount here on my title card, I printed an entire A4 sheet, and that way I've got enough left over that I could do a traveler's notebook page or something else if I wanted to later on. Since I've got all of these other bits and pieces printed out, I haven't kind of digitally worked out what I'm going to do this week, as I do sometimes when I'm using digitals, and so it helps me to kind of have a little bit more left over than just a few embellishments. So as far as this title card goes, like I said, I'm only going to use a little bit, and that's because I'm going to die cut the word week just out of some white cardstock. So I wanted something like light and bright for my title card. So I've got a 4x6 piece of just scrap white cardstock, and I'm using some die cut alphas from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to back them with this striped paper. Now, 100%, I definitely could have cut the alphas out of the striped paper and adhered them onto the card. I think it's much of a muchness. I don't know why I did it this way. It kind of felt like it was easier for me. I think it's probably much the same. Trimmed off a little bit of the lavender paper. I'm not even going to bother gluing it. I'm just going to use some washi tape and tape this all around the 4 edges on the back. The cardstock that I've used, the white cardstock, is very thick. It's about 300 GSM, so it doesn't really bend or flex that much, and so I don't necessarily have to add a bunch of glue underneath it. Now, as far as the week numbers, I'm just going to use the same foam alphas because that way I've used them 3 times on my layout, and I love that kind of repetition of 3. But I do want somewhere to date stamp. I don't really just want to date stamp straight onto my white cardstock. Plus, I felt like it needed a little bit of extra color up here. There's a whole lot of white going on. So I dug into my label stash and found one. I found a couple actually, but the one that I'm going to use is this kind of tealy color. It's from Nelly and Clem as well, so I know that it's pretty similar in color to some of the teals that I've used on my layout. And I really only have one place to put it. I'm going to poke it in here beside the K. I'm going to stack my numbers on top of it so that they're kind of overlapping. And then I'm really going to cross my fingers and hope that I can stamp my dates into here, because this just happened to be one of those weeks that covers 2 months. So it's a little bit longer as far as the date stamping goes. I do manage to squeeze it in just enough, using just a bit of scrap paper to kind of mask off and make sure that I can get those 2 dates nice and clean, and then I can go ahead and trim off the excess of that label. So you can see, like, only just made it, but it's enough. I'm happy with that. Now, I kind of was going to finish up. Like I said, was keeping things simple. But for me, it just felt like it was missing a little bit of embellishment, just a little bit. So I dug in my stash and found these chipboard hearts. They were from a Studio Calico kit not so long ago. Well, I say not so long ago. It may have been in the last year or so. Some of the colors were very similar, especially that kind of mustardy yellow. So I'm going to add a few little hearts. Well, I was going to add a few, and I end up adding heaps because I love them. They're pretty, and I'd kind of like to use the shed up. So their colors fit nicely. So I added a couple on the title card, a couple on my bottom photo, and I'm going to sprinkle a few around the rest of the cards and then call this page all done. So I will leave the link for the Nelly and Clem store in the description box for you if you want to pick up this super cute kit. It's a really good one, especially if you are an overthinker like I am. And also, Nelly and Clem has a brand new Facebook group. So if you're a fan of digitals, I will leave the link for you as well, so you can head over, join in, and see all the fun things that are being posted over there. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, I'm going to leave a couple of videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.